Hey there, welcome back. It's episode 3 of How to Fix US Soccer. Welcome back. If you're new around here, someone share this with you on Facebook or something like that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button that's down there and the little bell. The little bell. Sometimes YouTube is like, I think I'm just going to take the day off and not send out a notification to the subscribers, like in your subscription box that a new video has been posted. But that little bell will like send you a notification on the YouTube app, or if you log in on a desktop, it'll actually be up in like the top right sidebar, kind of, I guess, up there if you're looking at your browser type situation. So make sure you hit that bell. A ton of you, I mean, we've gained over 150 subscribers since I posted the first video where I admitted I had wept openly after the United States was eliminated from the World Cup 2018. But we're past that. We're in episode 3 now of how we're going to fix things. Bruce Arena has resigned. You don't hear, I'm not gonna add any cheering or clapping or, triumphant band noise into this video. That would be ridiculous because it's not news. And this probably isn't even a hot take. I'm sure somebody else has already said something like this on the internet, but you're here watching me. It's not news. Bruce Arena's contract was through the end of the World Cup, right? He was brought in to rescue the United States from going 2 games in the hole, dropping 6 points under Jurgen Klinsmann, and to get us to the World Cup. He didn't do that. So his contract's over. Like, what's he going to stay on until next August and just sit there like this? I'm going to look aloof all the time. This is me. Like, what's he going to do? Coach some friendlies with the same MLS players that he brought in for the last 2 games? What is he going to do? That doesn't make any sense. So he has severely tarnished his career. Like, I don't hate Bruce Arena. I don't. I may even do an ode to Bruce Arena at some point in the future. He's done a lot of good things for the game in the United States. And he took a risk. He could have said like, whoa, no, I'm not touching that business over there. That seems like a bad idea. I got a reputation, man. Like, there's nothing for me to gain out of this, right? But he took it on. So props to him. He's resigned. What they freaking do? That doesn't really matter. So let's get to the point. We're 2.5 minutes into this episode. Let's get to the point. Who does the U.S. Soccer Federation go after next? And I'm here to tell you, I have no freaking idea. It doesn't, like, I'm not going to say, I'm not Alexi Lawless. I'm not Rob Stone. I'm not Herculez Gomez. I know. We look alike, don't we? Go ahead. You can tell me in the comments I look like him. Anyway, I'm not the guy that's going to say, like, we got to go get this specific guy who coaches in Europe or this specific guy from South America. I'm not that guy, right? But I want to tell you about the characteristics I'd like to see in our next coach. And then I want you all to tell me who you think that is. I think that's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more engaging. Get you going in the comments, right? So, for those of you that don't watch American football, I want you to bear with me because I think this is really important. It's going to highlight the point I want to make, okay? I want to talk to you about a coach in American football, specifically college football. So, if I'm thinking about the characteristics of a coach and what I want a United States soccer team to look like and what kind of mentality and personality I want it to be 180 degrees different from what we saw in Trinidad and Tobago. Anybody watching that game on an iPad via the stupid Go90 app, thank you, beIN Sports. Thank you, Fubo TV, for crashing again so I couldn't watch it on TV. Good job, guys. Good job. Yeah, and then Fubo TV said, oh, you should be able to log into beIN Sport Connect, right? Because it'll connect to our servers. Your servers are in a heaping pile of flames. No, that's not going to work. So anyway, had to watch it on my iPad. So it was that's why, like, the second goal with Tim Howard, I couldn't tell if it was a great shot or if he slipped or whatever, because I'm sitting there like watching it on an iPad. Anyway, I digress. They look so flat. They look so unmotivated. If you're watching sports media, there's a lot of talking heads who's like, I'm going to take this side, blah, 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 blah. And this guy goes, well, I don't really believe against the thing that's against you, but we're going to get good ratings if we argue, right? It's like, well, you're completely wrong, so let me tell you about that, right? Like, I'm not going to tell you I know exactly what like what's going on in the locker room, and this is how they came out and what they were feeling and what was said, like that. No, like there'll probably be a book in 10 years after the 2026 World Cup that hopefully United States is hosting. This is what it looks like. That is like the tell-all, and it'll bring more fans in and sell lots of books, right? But that team looked like they had never considered the fact that they might not qualify for the World Cup, right? They looked complacent. They weren't the team. It was literally like you replaced every person on the squad, because you ran the same squad against Panama at home, right? You played them at home and you wiped the floor with a 4-0. It's like it's like you got their evil twin, except for Christian Pulisic, God love him. It's like you got their evil twin who's lethargic, and you put him and you just put him in the same jersey, and like you didn't even know that the evil twin was on the pitch. And then they got out there and they were just kind of like jogging. Like that second goal, great shot from Trinidad and Tobago. Nagby's nowhere near that guy. Nowhere near. He's all day to size up and go like, well, I mean, no one's going after me, so I think I'm just gonna kick the ball really hard and see what happens. And it went in, right? Because there's no defensive pressure. Josie Altidore, who I think gets a lot of crap, and he's been a decent, I'd say to this point, United States player. And if you remember the Panama game, he had a phenomenal game, right? There was more than once where he got dispossessed in the middle of the pitch because he was dropping deep to come get the ball, and he got tackled by two different Trinidad and Tobago defensive midfielders or whatever. He loses the ball, and he like literally is like, and like walks off. Sorry, I just rattled my whole setup here. It's shaking around. And he just like walks off like literally like my 4-year-old son did in practice one day when they were doing like a mock game and the other team scored 3 goals. He like came pouting off the field, and I had to like talk to him about, get back out there. That's literally what Josie Altidore is like. The mentality of the team literally came across as, we're gonna qualify. Like even if we're gonna go to Trinidad, we're gonna get a draw. If we somehow lose, Mexico's not gonna lose to Honduras. It's freaking Mexico. And Costa Rica's not gonna it's like it had never processed in their minds that was gonna happen. And obviously that's a problem, because until you've qualified, you haven't qualified. Like that's, write that on a book and sell it, right? Like that's not a thing that you should really be talking about, right? Like that's not rocket science. Until you've actually qualified, you haven't qualified. But they had the mentality of like, we're gonna make it. So that's definitely partly on the players, but it's also partly on the coach, the staff, the setup, whatever. There couldn't have been, I literally can't believe that somebody didn't say, like, guys, like, we haven't done this until we've done this. But it came across as like, they're like, well, this is just, it'll be fine. We can run the same 11 players out, even though they played all on Friday in a highly emotional game with a lot of adrenaline. It'll be fine. Just send them back out. I know I've rotated all the other games where I've had different players come in. I'm not going to do that in this game. It's trying to, like, come on, guys. Like, they're playing their B team, right? That's literally what it looked like. You didn't have that lethal, like, German, like, continue to kill them until they're dead. Like, I'm not saying it like about the German national, like they just destroy people. Like that's what they do. They're merciless. They don't go like, well, it's Trinidad and Tobago, let's go easy on them. It's like, kill them all. Like, go win every game by multiple goals, and we'll go to the World Cup. You didn't have that mentality. And it felt like we took the game off. And then you go down at the half 2-0, and it's kind of like the halftime. I'd love to have been a fly in that room. But it's like, guys, like, the other games I think they were drawn maybe at the half. It was close. It wasn't like a blowout in the other games. Like, guys, like, we got to go get 2 goals. Oh, okay. And then you go out and do that. But, like, you didn't have that mentality. Like, we slept walk through the first half. So I want to talk to you about it. I know I've now rambled on. It's like 9 minutes in, so forgive me. So there's a coach in American football that I do not like. Like, I do not like one bit, but I respect the heck out of. I don't like him because his team destroys my team and has destroyed my team forever. But he's that good. So if you don't know anything about college football in the United States, you've got different conferences. So think of them like leagues, right? Like the Premier League, La Liga, whatever, right? And they're all broken up geographically, roughly speaking, right? So in the Southeastern Conference, there is the University of Alabama. So let's go take a look at their coach, Nick Saban. Nick freaking Saban. I guess I could get rid of the U.S. Soccer logo now. Bloop. Oh, that's not an updated picture. Yeah, 2009. But before I scroll down to show you his record, this is what Nick Saban believes in. Okay? Nick Saban doesn't care about the next game. He doesn't care about the next quarter. He doesn't care about the next series of plays, like that. In college football series is like when your team has the ball, right? Or defensive series would be when the other team gets the ball. You know, he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the play 3 plays from now. He doesn't care about the play 2 plays from now. He cares about not even the current play. You know what he cares about? You doing your job. And if you don't do your job, he's got a stacked roster, and you will lose your job. Maybe permanently. That's how he rolls. Now, it's a little different in college football and in the NFL because, like, you can substitute players, like, on every play, right? Like, you can't do that in soccer/European football. You can't do that, right? You only get 3 subs. But it sends that message, right? He's got a bunch of 5-star guys sitting on the bench going, like, I hope that guy in front of me messes up so I can go show the world how good I am so I can go pro and get paid millions of dollars a year. He is the guy. His team recently beat 2 other teams in the conference, right? Vanderbilt and Ole Miss, okay? Who aren't as good as you'd like, right? Vanderbilt's traditionally been pretty bad, right? But they're still in the conference. Now there's no promotion relegation, but anyway, right? They're still in the conference. They beat Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt 59-0. 59-0. He played his second string. He played his third string. So it wasn't like he had, they're up 35-0 and he had, Dele Alli and Kane out there, or Lukaku and Pogba, right? He didn't have those guys out there. He pulled those guys and put the second string on, and they came in and did their jobs because they understood if they didn't do their jobs, they would suddenly become the third string, right? And they executed. And they didn't do big flashy plays. They just did their jobs, and they crushed their opposition. 59-0. They took the second string out, put the third string in. Same thing. It's just like, that's what a Nick Saban team does, is they care about doing their job on this play. That's all that matters. And then if you do enough of those in a row and everyone does their job, you win the game. It's not rocket science, right? But he has the mentality. His teams will be up by 50 points and they'll have to punt, which is essentially give the ball back to the opponent's offense. And again, many of you watching this probably know this, but I have, European viewers. So like, I'm trying to explain that. They're punting the ball back. And if someone made a mistake, like he's not as upset if like they ran a play and the other team, their defense was set up to beat it and like whatever, right? And everyone did their job, but like the play was just better designed than his play. He's not as upset. He's still upset, but he's not as upset. He will scream like you're gonna, like, all the veins in his neck are gonna explode and his head's gonna disconnect from his body and smoke comes out of his ears as it spins around your face. If you were on the field and you screwed up, he doesn't care that it's 55-0 because in his head it's 0-0 because he's thinking if you screw up when we're up 55-0, what are you gonna do when the pressure's on and we're down by 3? Like, that's the mentality that Nick Saban has. That's the mentality he has. Okay, so he beats the team 59-0. Okay, it was a fluke, whatever. No. He goes, they play Ole Miss 66-3. That's how good he is. And again, it goes into his mentality of do your job or lose your job, right? He focuses so heavily on the process. Like, he's won. Let's go look down here. Okay, let's look at his history. Blah, 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 blah. So he was assistant coach, blah, blah, blah. Head coach, whatever. He goes to LSU, which is in the Southeastern Conference, same conference as Alabama. He wins 2 SEC championships. I believe. Yeah, coach championship. And essentially 2 real championships in the conference, which is kind of like winning your league, right? So like winning the Premier League. And the orange is the national championship, so that's like winning the Champions League, where like all the champions from the best conferences play, right, in a game. They pick 2 teams, whatever. He won a national championship. Not bad. So then he leaves LSU after 2004. He goes to the NFL with the Miami Dolphins. Doesn't work out very well. Comes back to Alabama. Okay. First season. Now this isn't he came in the middle of the season, right? He didn't have the whole season. 2-6. Not good. But like you're inheriting a mess, blah, like whatever. Next season, first full season, 12-2. 8-0 in conference. So it's like he won all of his league games. First in the this is his first real season. Okay. Right. Yeah. All right. The next season won the national championship. Okay. Then they had a down year. They went 10-3. Next season won the national championship. Next season won the national championship. Won the 1, 2, 3, 4 national championships. An additional 2 conference titles, because if you win the national, like it's almost certain in the years that they won the national championship that they also won the SEC, the conference title. And you can see the results. They're 6-0. They're going to be 7-0 today, right? Or I'm doing this on Saturday the 14th. Like, if they lose, the world is going to end. But it goes into his mentality. Like one of his famous phrases is, because again, in American football, it's like you're lining up and you're doing this a lot, right? Line versus line. And it's like, you make his ass quit. Like you work harder and make his ass quit. That is what he says. And it goes back to his mentality. So all that to say, I don't know if that's too much buildup. And I really don't like Nick Saban. I really don't. But I respect him because he is a proven winner. And what he talks about with his teams makes logical sense. Do your job or lose your job. If you're not willing to do your job when you're up 55-0, you're not willing to do your job when it's a close game. I can't trust you. You can't be complacent if you're on a Nick Saban team. He sniffs that out and you don't start the next game. You don't get to see the field again because he's got a bunch of good people behind you. Now you could argue in US soccer, like maybe there's not enough good people behind them, but like I'll do another video on that about the lost generation. But what I would like to see US soccer go and do, I don't really care how well the manager knows MLS or the American player or whatever. Like, I think there is some validity to that. Like, the American player is generally more physical, runs fast, works hard, but isn't technically adept. So, okay, you could take a fast-running European player and make them less technical, and they'd be an American player, right? Like, so I don't care if they haven't coached in MLS or in the American system. I don't really care if they speak English, to be honest with you. I want somebody who is going to have the mentality of do your job or lose your job. No excuses. No, the pitch was heavy, or the grass was long, or it was wet, or, you know, they kept us up all night in Honduras. Like, those things are going to happen, bro. They do it to the other teams too. They do it to Mexico, right? Like, I want someone who's going to say, like, we from this day forward, from the moment I am hired, we refuse to give excuses for our failings. And we're going to own them, and we're going to fix them, or if we don't fix them, we're all out of jobs, just like Bruce Arena. So, that having been said, I'm going to rely on you, dear viewer. Who is that? Who is it? Is it Peter Vermees? Is it Tato Martino? Is it Thomas Tuchel because he's available? Is it Jurgen Klopp? Who should the United States go out and get that would have that mentality? Again, so I'm not looking for who you think they should go get. I'm trying to, like, help me understand who in the soccer world has that mentality where it's like, you're going to do your job, this is how we're going to play, or you lose your job. And there's no excuses. I'm tired of excuses. And I think the good, if you can see any good, it's not a good thing, obviously, that the United States didn't qualify for the World Cup. It's a terrible, horrible thing if you're a U.S. soccer fan. The only potential good out of it is the increased scrutiny that U.S. soccer is going to face because they've kind of had this like Bruce Arena aloofness. Like, oh, we're always going to make it. We're successful, right? We've got 100 million in the bank. Wow, you guys are like actually kind of mad. Like if you listen to Sunil's press conference or the notes, I should say, of the press conference on Friday, he seemed genuinely shocked at how upset people were, which is just mind-blowing. But anyway, I keep going into other episodes, so I'm going to cut this here. Who's going to have a Nick Saban-esque mentality? Who's going to bring that level of attention to detail, that passion, that no nonsense, no BS, no excuses mentality? Where are they, and how do we get them? All right? The other thing I was going to point out, it really bothers me, is this is the front page of US Soccer. Nothing on the above the fold about Bruce Arena. Yeah, you got to scroll all the way down here to get to the bad news. Curious. Hide the bad news, right? Anyway, just bothers me. So, smash a like on this. I want to say thank you. I've been getting my phone's been buzzing the last week from all of you subscribing and commenting and all that kind of stuff. It's massive when you like and share and comment on this video. It tells YouTube, this is genuine content. I think other people should see this. That's where 90% of the views on the video right after the World Cup miss from us that I put out, 90% of the views came from other videos where it's YouTube's algorithm figured out if they watch this video, they're really going to like this other one, and 13,000 people showed up. So it's massively important that you guys do that. Do you agree with me? Maybe you think no, you're completely wrong about the coaching search. I have to madly respect what Nick Saban does. I'd love to see that kind of coach at US Soccer, not a coach that makes excuses about everything under the sun when we win, when we lose, when we draw, when we go on the road. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the aloofness. What are your thoughts? And we'll see you in the next episode. There's a lot more coming. Make sure you subscribe.